So, I saw the new Tomb Raider movie not too long ago, and honestly, I really enjoyed it, fellas. I did have my doubts going into it, but ultimately I thought the film was pretty great. Sure, you could argue that the overall story and structure are pretty generic, and I guess you could say that if you play the more recent games, the plot doesn't really have a lot of new stuff to offer, aside from maybe a few twists and turns which I don't think we've seen before. But while I can agree that the story didn't end up being anything too special, for me the biggest strength of this movie is its main protagonist, aka Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider woman, or just the Tomb Raider, I guess. The further this movie went on, the more it was clear that the filmmakers really nailed this character. And not in a sexual way, but as in that they did a good job with her. Alicia Vikander, throughout the entire 2 hours that she was on screen, she was fantastic. As much as it pains me to admit. You know, because she's Swedish and I'm Caucasian. She's successful and I am pretty successful. I make online videos which bring enjoyment to thousands of people across the world and which everyone likes. And I do mean everyone. Honestly, I can't even imagine someone not liking my videos. Anyway, the main point I'm trying to get across is that the new Lara Croft we got this year is great. Much more great than, for example, the other Lara Croft that came before in form of Angelina Jolie, who I never cared that much for. And this is what brings us here today. We're going to compare these two different film versions of Lara Croft and then based on that answer one simple question. How do you actually create a proper, strong female protagonist? So listen up, Hollywood. I know you're very into female leads right now, thing is you just haven't always managed to pull them off properly. But hopefully after this, you will know how. Right out the gate, let's make something very clear. This new Lara Croft is by far a lot stronger than the old Lara Croft. But Filmento, that doesn't make sense. The very first time we see Angelina Jolie, she's already doing hella fine flips and shooting up giant killer robots. The most badass thing Alicia Vikander does is bear hug a parachute so that she doesn't fall to her death. That's a fair argument, but at least to me, the definition of character strength in fictional entertainment isn't exactly what it first might sound like. As in, when a character is strong, that doesn't mean they are this rock-hard beefcake who can bench press 200 pounds. The way I've always viewed the concept of strong protagonists is actually kind of reversed. In other words, strength is weakness, weakness is strength. Let me put it this way. When a character is weak, they have to struggle more. And the more a character has to struggle, the easier it is for the audience to care about them. AKA, make your character struggle and hurt, and the standing ovations shall follow. And boy do the filmmakers like to make this new Lara Croft struggle and hurt. The biggest issue I've always had with Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider, quite simply, is that I don't care. No matter how many lit flips she does, no matter how many sick motorcycle stunts she pulls off, I don't care. It might be cool to look at, but it sure as heck isn't giving me any reason to care about her. In fact, just the opposite. Every time I see that smug grin, I secretly wish I was holding an Xbox controller. In short, Hollywood, if you want to build a strong protagonist that the audience can actually care for, do this, not this. Strength is weakness, weakness is strength. Another reason why I think Vikander's Lara Croft rises above Jolie's is the fact that throughout her movie she's always at a disadvantage. She doesn't have special kick-ass fighting abilities. She doesn't have shiny dual-wield pistols with infinite ammo. In fact, this time she doesn't even have her family fortune, which I thought was a welcome fresh approach. Because of this constant state of disadvantage, our new Lara Croft always has to work much harder and use whatever limited resources she has in order to accomplish her goals. With Angelina Jolie, none of this is an issue. She's rich, she's capable, and last but not least, she's also confident as F. Quite frankly, she's just the type of person who would bully me in high school day after day. Just as a figure of speech, of course. Not that I actually got bullied. I'm kind of a tough guy, so I wouldn't ever let someone actually bully me. Considering all of Jolie's assets and abilities, honestly, instead of Tomb Raider, she might as well be headlining a James Cameron sci-fi movie.
A lady should be modest.
If you wonder why former WWE superstar Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has a prosthetic leg in the upcoming movie Skyscraper, wonder no more. Just like is the case with the new Lara Croft, it's there to put him at a disadvantage. A disadvantage which he then has to work through. Audiences love underdogs. So if you as a filmmaker want to make your lead character great and compelling, be sure to make them an underdog. Take away their wealth, take away their abilities, take away their confidence. Deny them everything and make them face odds that from their perspective seem insurmountable. AKA give them an advantage by putting them at a disadvantage. From the very first shot of this new Lara Croft, I knew I was going to like her. If you're not aware what shot it is I'm talking about exactly, it's the one where she gets smacked dead in the face. In my humble opinion, this opening image is fantastic. And no, I'm not saying that because I somehow enjoy watching women get beat up. It's because from this one single shot alone, it's clear to me that this time around the filmmakers actually decided to make the character of Lara Croft completely different from before. As in, not a physical incarnation of female badassery, but instead more grounded and thus relatable. In some form or another, everything this new Lara Croft does is relatable, at least toward the beginning. Losing in a competition, I can relate to that. Making a fool of yourself in public, I can relate to that. Falling from a rusty plane stuck in a jungle and then holding onto a parachute for dear life in order to avoid certain death. Well, I mean, I fell from my bed while sleeping once, so I can relate to that. One of the most crucial factors to keep in mind when building a character the audience cares about is relatability. Why is Spider-Man so popular? Because most people know what it's like to be just another kid in high school with high school kid problems. Why is Batman so popular? Just the same. Because most people know what it's like to be a super handsome billionaire dressing up as a bat at nights in order to fight crime. And now you know. The greatness of a character comes from relatability.
Wait! You could die. At least tell me your name.
I'm wearing hockey pads.
Bruce?
As I said in the beginning, I enjoyed this new video game approach on Tomb Raider very much. Yeah, maybe the story was a bit generic and predictable, aka a standard Hollywood product, especially if you played the games. But with the character of Lara Croft, in my opinion, they really hit a home run. The actor is just right, as is the general direction. Obviously, it wasn't all perfect. Take for example this great moment where Lara has to make her first kill. This I thought was very emotional, very well crafted. But right afterwards, she kind of out of nowhere then becomes this expert killer who's shooting down enemy human beings without much issue at all. Like we're now back in the early 2000s again. I also personally wasn't a huge fan of the ending, where she excitedly drools after a pair of firearms. Because, you know, she used them in those video games. But at the same time, I do understand it. I just hope that the filmmakers stick to the direction they set here and don't all of a sudden decide to make this thing into a PG-13 version of John Wick. All in all, it will be very interesting to see what the Tomb Raider franchise does next. And as long as the future means staying away from this, I think we should be okay.
Están limitados por la moral o la ley. Recuerda, todo está permitido.
We shall only kill the pimps.
Here we are, fellas. The end, sadly, is nigh. Thanks to everyone for all your comments on my last few videos. This time, let me know your thoughts on this new film version of Lara Croft. Also, what tips do you have for building a strong lead protagonist? Let me know. Thanks for watching.